Hello, once again, Jeff Wizry, jeffwizry.com. I'm going to talk about what we have referred to in some of my other social media mastery video training series videos, and that is how to actually create a killer capture page that will entice people to opt into your offers and hopefully build long-term relationships and help you build that massive list to success for your business. So that being said, today what I'm going to show you is how to or where to get free HTML editing software. It's called NView for New View. And when I first heard of HTML editors, I saw people who produce all these fancy pages. I said, how do you guys do that? And I was taught how to do it, and it is a little intimidating at first, but with anything, you got to practice on this, folks. And with practice comes perfection, and after you do it several times, it'll become easier each time. But there are some tricky nuances to it. So first of all, what you want to do is go to net2.com/nvu. You can go to just type in nvu.com. It'll bring you to a different page, and you have to hit a link. This will bring you right to the page. All you do is you click on the free download. I've already downloaded the software, but I'm sure you've downloaded stuff from the internet. And follow the prompts, and it won't take more than maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and you'll have the NView program on your computer. So I'm going to close out of that. That being said, I will go back into, where are we here? My actual NView. Now I'm working on an Apple Mac, so on a Windows PC, you'll have probably a desktop icon, so don't let that fool you with my taskbar on my Mac there. So here's the actual editing program. This is one of the capture pages I've used. I target MLM companies with my Facebook pay-per-click campaigns. You can basically design a capture page for whatever you're promoting. Maybe you're promoting an MLM company. This is my social media mastery that I promote on my Facebook pay-per-click, and I've got about 10 of these different capture pages, and all of them are company specific. This one I went after Melaleuca distributors to show them a better way to recruit. What you'll want to do, you can see that within NView on an HTML editor like Microsoft Word or any other word processing program, you have your toolbars up here. And that allows you to play with your images, bold, italicize, underline your fonts, choose your fonts, choose your font sizes. The key to an HTML editor, though, is the table, and that's this little guy up here. The table actually is a grid that you're going to lay out, and I would highly recommend when you're doing this, basically take a pen and a piece of paper and scratch out how many, what we call cells you'll need. A cell is like if you have one image to the left-hand side, that'll be in one cell. Then if you have your main header or headline, that's in another cell. Then here's another cell, okay? And then if you have a subheadline, that's another cell. Then if you have bullet points telling people what they're going to get from your offer, that's another cell. And then down here, when you actually put your opt-in box from your autoresponder and enter that code, that's another cell. So in this one, I've created a 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3 matrix. And I'll show you how to do that. But that's key to these HTML editors. You want to make sure before you jump into it that you have your cells, your table, and then all your individual cells in your head, so then you don't have to worry about adding cells, deleting cells later. It saves you a little bit of time. So that being said, you can see this is already a capture page I've created. Don't worry about these images. They're there. They just, for some reason, I have to keep reloading them. They get screwed up once the thing's saved, but you just bring them back. All they are is uploaded images from image files that I have on my hard drive on my computer. So I'm just going to show you now to create this same 3 by 4, 3 over the top, and then 4 rows down. It's pretty easy. So I just opened up a new untitled, brand new document. All you do, if you don't know how to do that, is if you go up into File, File, hit New, and it'll ask you, do you have a template? Most of you won't. Just do a blank document, and then hit Create, and lo and behold, it'll create another file. So what I'm going to do is I'll just close that one out because I already have one of these open and untitled. And so now, the first thing you want to do, remember how I said we want to take and hit this table link up here. right here. That'll lay out our matrix of cells, rows, columns, all that good stuff. Now what I did is, you notice this just follows a pointer. So if we need 3 cells across and we need 4 rows, it'll show right there. You can see it counts your matrix there. We got a 4 by 3. All you do is highlight that. When it's highlighted, you just click, and voila, it puts your cells in here. Now it looks very small, but don't worry about that. What you can do, and I'll show you, again, whatever you're creating will be different from what I'm creating, but what I do is, since I've already created this, I'm just going to copy and paste and show you. You either can click in the cell, like let's click in the middle there for our header. And you see up above here, these are your dimensions. Right now they're pretty small, but you can drag these out and make your cell, your table a lot bigger. So just, sometimes this thing gets a little finicky. So you can, it'll show the pixels on top. You see 181, 214, 214. You can also go in and you can resize it. You can go to the top toolbar here. I like to just go and right click, okay? And you can, it'll show your table cell properties, but then what you can do is you can select the entire table, and it'll highlight the table, and then you can go back up in either here or right click, and it should show here table properties. And that'll bring this up. Now this shows your rows, columns. We had 4 rows, 3 columns. These are your heights here. So you can play around with your heights, either do it here, or you can just manually drag them and manipulate them here using your mouse cursor. This here is your border. If you want to have a border around your cells, I don't, because it's a capture page. I don't like lines in there, so I just hit 0 by default. Then you can also space and pad pixels between cells and pixels between cell border and content. So that's pretty straightforward. Your table alignment, you can either have it left. I usually default to center, okay? And then your background color can bring up a palette of basically off the color spectrum. I usually just use white because it contrasts with my writing the best and my images. So there. And then all you have to do is hit apply, and we should take away our borders. And that's, you still see the borders because down here we're in normal mode. If you hit preview, this is how it'll actually look. So it should take your borders away. It did. It's just that it leaves that orange color up there just for a guide reference. So I'll show you as we go along. So now we've got a bigger table. Let's see if we can drag this out, make it a little bit. There we go. We don't want to make it too big. So I just drag it out a little so it's manageable, so you can see what's going on, okay? Now, what we'll want to do is we want to come over here, and I'm just going to cut and paste. Again, if you're starting from scratch, you'll have to just, learn how to type. Well, I hope everybody knows how to type out there. And I'm just going to bring this over. So I can manually just type this out, pick the fonts. I use Comic Sans. I like that. And then I'll hit paste here. And voila, we got it, but it didn't center it, okay? These are all the fun little intricacies of, we have to, left click, highlight, and then go up here and hit center. Boom, we're centered. Perfect. So now we've got our headline there. Jeff Woods, Social Media Master Trainer. Now what I can do is I can spread this out over one line, or I can keep it, depending on the size of your font, the type of font. Those are key to really how much room you're going to need in these cells. So then if you see you've got way too much room, then you should be able to just bring this back and shrink it, okay? And over here, we'll want to maybe bring this back or bring this forward so we get more congruency. Now, here is where I put my picture. And a lot of you, depending on your preference, most of the time I center my main header because people focus on that. Then I have my picture off to the left, and I'll have an icon, some type of PNG image of what I'm promoting on the right. So I'll show you here, to put a picture in, all you do is you click on that cell, so the cursor's in the cell, you come up to image, or you can right click on that cell and it should bring up image too. And then what you want to do is you go up into the choose file, and what I do is I keep all my images in one folder, so it's easier for me to not be hunting all over my C drive. Here's one of my images. It's a JPG image, so I'll click on that or double click on that. and then it'll show you the width and the height and the size. You can resize the dimensions by hitting the dimensions tab here, and then if you want it to fit in, say, a smaller one, you can just punch that into the width, and it usually compensates on the height too and sets that for you. So let's not do that. Let's just, the other thing you need to do here is hit the don't use alternative text button. If you do, it's not going to show your image. Then just hit OK, and we should have our image in there. And see, now it went a little too big. So that's easily fixable. Right-click on the image, Image Properties, and then all you need to do here is go into Dimensions, and let's say instead of width being 487, oops, you have to hit Custom Size, I'm sorry. Let's say we only want a 300 wide, and see the height it resized to 391. Now, once we hit OK, it should resize it. There we go. That's more manageable. Okay, good. So now we've got the image, the header, and then let's put the image on the other side. Instead of going up to image, I'm just going to right-click, okay? And let's see if we, maybe it won't. I'm sorry. So let's go back up to image here. I thought maybe right-click, it didn't show an image in there, though. Let's go into our Choose File. And right here, I'm going to put my Social Media Mastery image. And it previews it. Remember, hit Don't Use Alternative Text. And now I like to keep my picture and my other images consistent. So I made this 300 wide. So on this, I'm going to change the dimensions. We have to hit Custom Size there to 300. And it should keep the same. It should be congruent with the image to my picture if we hit OK here. There we go. Now, sometimes, for whatever reason, NVU gets a little finicky. See, I'm going to try to resize this down to about 300 here to be consistent with my picture. There we go. So that's 300, and this middle one's a little bigger. So we could actually make this font. All you do is come up here, highlight it, hit the big A arrow, and it should increase your font size. There we go. Nice and big. Okay, now you can resize this, and you see here, I've got it looking like that there with the training kind of in the middle, and that's how it is here. And then generally speaking, if you want to change the font to a different font type, you come up here where it says mixed, and then we just have to come down to, I like Comic Sans. Everybody has a different take on this. I just like Comic Sans. Sometimes it comes down to your personal taste. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now I'd probably keep this a little smaller for example purposes. I don't want this to drag on too long. So again, what you'll be doing is typing in all your different, your main header, your subheaders, and all that good stuff. I've already done it, so I've taken some of the work out of it for myself here, but that's something you would have to. So we'll copy this over, and you can just make sure you highlight and put the cursor in the cell and paste it. And there it is. A lot of times it'll paste over as is. Sometimes it changes the font. If you get my point, once you get one master capture page done, then you can overwrite, open up a new one, cut and paste, and you can bang one of these out in 5-10 minutes. First one's going to take a while. It probably took me several hours to get it to where I liked it. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm just copying, pasting. It's pretty easy. Now on the bullets, again, the bullets are a function. And a lot of people like bullets. I do. They're basically a macro that you can just go up here and you can hit the bullet box. And then as you're typing and then you hit return, it'll start a new bullet for every bullet sentence you want to put or bullet point you want to put on there. But now I've made it easy on myself because it's already there. And I will just paste. There we go. You see this is shaping up rather nicely. Now, at the bottom, I've got my opt-in page, or my header for my opt-in, get access to the video training. And so I'll highlight that, and we'll copy it over, put it down here, and we will paste it there. Perfect. Okay, now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Oops, I've got to better center this. Sometimes stuff gets lost in translation. You'll find that with NVU. These editors can be finicky just like any other computer program, so we want to make sure we're keeping consistent and centering everything. And for some reason, it really can be tricky highlighting this stuff too. It'll stop at places, it'll jump back to the beginning. It can be quite maddening. Okay, now, this is the area, if you're not familiar, you can go back to one of my other videos. What you're doing here, beneath your opt-in header is you're going to actually put the HTML code that was generated from whatever autoresponder you're using. So if I use Aweber, I use Traffic Wave, I use GetResponse. They're all pretty similar. They have little small nuances that differentiate the services. But when you create your opt-in form in your autoresponder for whatever email series you're going to have sent out to your list, people that opt in, basically you're going to want to create the name, email, phone number, address, all those data input boxes. And you do that in your autoresponder, whichever one you're using. And so right now I'm using Aweber and Traffic Wave. And I've already created that opt-in code. So basically what you're going to want to do is, if you don't know how to create an opt-in code, then you're going to have to, get an autoresponder and learn that. They've got plenty of videos on it. It's not really that hard. But what you'll want to do is you're going to have to get a little techie here. And in order to place the code into your actual capture page, we're going to have to go into the source, which is this button here. And when you hit the source, this bottom button where it says source, then all you see is gobbledygook and HTML code. Very confusing unless you're an expert coder. So let's go back to the normal tab here, which shows how, in normal building mode. And what you want to do is you want to space down a couple and just put in a bunch of large or small X's. I'll put in some big X's so they're easy. Just put a whole line of X's there. That's where you're going to basically want to cut and paste your opt-in form code that you get from your autoresponder. And so when we go into the source now, you might ask me, why are we putting all those X's in? Well, it makes it easy to find where the break is in all this code and where we need to cut and paste. You see here? Here's all the X's. So what you want to do is you want to cut and paste your autoresponder HTML form opt-in code right there. Once you do that, then we should see this. Let's go back to normal. We should see the same thing we're seeing here, a opt-in box. So I'm just going to take this one again because it's been created, and I'll go into the source, and usually you can see it'll see where it says begin traffic wave autoresponder, and it's all in green there. That means that's where this code begins. All right? If you're not a source or a code expert, this stuff will drive you nuts. So I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Again, this code was generated in my Traffic Wave autoresponder when I built my opt-in box. It's the same for any autoresponder. It'll say, here's your code. You can cut and paste it to whatever whatever capture page you're building. And so let's just cut this, or not cut, copy. We don't want to cut it. We'll copy it, go back to the normal mode, go back to my other example page I'm creating, and you see there where I put the X's in. Let's go to the source. And there's the X's right there. So I want to highlight the X's that I typed in. That's where we want to paste this. Right click and paste our code. Boom. Okay? Now let's go to preview and see what it looks like. There we go. So now this isn't centered. If it isn't centered, what you'll want to do is, that's another intricate step here. Let's go and find where. Here it is. All right, what you want to do is, I'll teach you a little code here. Left arrow, type center, and then followed by right arrow. And put that right above what you're trying to center. And then right down here, we want to type the same thing, right arrow or left arrow center, and then / right arrow, meaning you're done. That's where you end the center. Now let's see in preview and see if we've centered it. See, now it's centered. That's just a little coding deal. Okay, so now the other thing I forgot to do, and it's pretty easy, all I have to do is I forgot to put my down arrows or whatever you kind of image you have to point to the box, and that's pretty easy. So we just go into back to normal. You want to put all this in normal. I was in preview to see how it actually looks. And then what we'll want to do is hit the image icon, and I apologize, I just forgot to do that. Choose the file and the 4 down arrows. Hit don't use alternative text, hit OK, and voila, we got our arrows. And again, These you can go on Google Images. I take screenshots through Jing, another program, and just save them as PNG images or JPEG images and just pull them off your hard drive. It's pretty easy. If we go into preview now, there we go. We've got a full capture page. And like I said, there's no borders. If I would have left that border at 1, there would have been little borders between all these cells, and that doesn't look too good. So now you can do whatever you want with any of this stuff. And again, being me, I, of course, forgot to put my submit button in there, so I really apologize for that. But I get so caught up in trying to make this stuff simple that I forget we need to put one more image in there, and that would be our Start Now button, because you want to let people know they need to hit that to get your lucrative offer. There we go. So, perfect. Now, so when people click on that, if you go back to my earlier videos on how to actually insert this wonderful capture page into your blog using a subdomain, when people click on that URL and hit the submit button, Start Now button, whatever button it is, that'll automatically take them to your offer and have them confirm via their email, and then they're off to the races as far as getting your autoresponder messages. So, in a nutshell, this is how you create a capture page in Envu. There's other editing programs out there. I think Envu is one of the easier ones to learn. I know it's very popular, and of course it's free, which is wonderful. That's it, folks. I hope you got a lot of value out of this tutorial. If you have any questions, give me a call. My number, my contact information, everything is on Contact Me on my information page on my blog. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Until we meet again, I want to wish all of you the best of luck out there marketing-wise, and I'll see you in another video.